Good afternoon. The committee will come to order. I understand the ranking member will be here in just a moment, but rather than keep everyone waiting, I'll go ahead and give my opening statement. We do want to welcome everyone here and our colleagues who will be joining us shortly, as well as our distinguished witnesses to the Subcommittee on Asia and Pacific hearing this afternoon. There's no doubt that today the Cambodian people are better off than they were in the late 70s under the Khmer Rouge, when as many as 2 million Cambodians were murdered. But while the region has significantly changed since the days of the Cold War, Cambodia has taken very few steps to open its political system and move toward a more transparent and responsive regime. The past 30 years have shown that Cambodia's dictator, Prime Minister Hun Sen, has not and will not tolerate real political debate. And the upcoming national elections have only underscored the deterioration of the human rights landscape in Cambodia over the course of the past few years. On October 23, 1991, 19 countries joined together to sign the Paris Peace Agreement, which offered a political settlement aimed at ending the tragic conflict and continuing bloodshed in Cambodia. It also laid out the process for building a just and democratic Cambodia anchored in human rights and the rule of law. The United Nations maintained a mission in the country until 1993 to supervise the ceasefire, prepare Cambodia for its new constitution, and help ensure that its first general elections were free and fair. It was this agreement that planted the seeds for an environment in which the respect for human rights could be protected and could grow. 20 years have passed since Cambodia held its first national elections, but the vision for the Cambodian people that the international community put in writing is not yet a reality. Cambodia remains consumed by a corrupt political system that is becoming more authoritarian with each passing day. Hun Sen and the ruling Cambodian People's Party do not foster democratic discourse or respect the fundamental freedoms that will allow the Cambodian people to live more prosperous and fulfilling lives. Despite the large amount of foreign aid the U.S. and international community has provided to the Cambodian government and its people for the purposes of promoting human rights, civil and political liberties, improving educational standards, combating health risks, and increasing food security, Hun Sen is taking every action to make it nearly impossible for this aid to be effectively used in a political and social structure that is mired in corruption. On July 28th, Cambodia will hold its 5th election behind a false veil of democracy, during which Hun Sen will win his 4th term as Prime Minister through the incitement of political violence, corruption, and nepotism. This victory will only ensure a political, social, and economic future for the Cambodian people that is both uncertain and dire. The list of intimidating and repressive actions taken by the CPP is long. Last month, they expelled 27 elected opposition legislators from the National Assembly and attempted to prohibit radio stations from broadcasting all Khmer language foreign news. It also refuses to allow opposition leader Sam Rainsy from running in the upcoming election, has made death threats to human rights activists and organizations, and inhibits other opposition party members from running effective campaigns. In addition to severely restricting freedom of speech and association, Hun Sen has warned the Cambodian people that if they do not re-elect him, civil war will return. I commend the international community for its decision to not send election monitors to Cambodia and legitimize Hun Sen's illegitimate victory, but declaring the election not free or fair is not enough. U.S. policy toward Cambodia needs to change, and the Obama administration needs to take a much tougher approach to Asia's longest ruling dictator. I intend to introduce legislation which complements a bill Senators Graham and Rubio introduced last month, urging the State Department and USAID to not support the national elections if the UN recommendations made in July 2012 by the UN Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in Cambodia are ignored, and political opposition parties and leaders are excluded from the election. So far, neither has happened. The legislation also calls for the U.S. to withhold foreign assistance to the Cambodian government if the elections are not judged credible and competitive. Cutting off direct aid to the Cambodian government, specifically foreign military financing and international military education and training funding, is a tangible action the U.S. can take to show its condemnation of the upcoming fallacious and undemocratic election. I also urge Secretary Kerry to issue a condemnation of the elections. A department press release is not enough and will only highlight the administration's indifference toward Hun Sen's actions and the human rights of the Cambodian people. Today, the real question is how much leverage does the U.S. still have in Cambodia and with Hun Sen? And how can the U.S. leverage its assistance to better address the growing human rights abuses in Cambodia at a time of incredible political instability? We have seen Cambodia's political and economic ties with China significantly grow, which has impacted the effectiveness of U.S. assistance to advance the rule of law, democracy, and human rights. Chinese loans, infrastructure development, investment, and aid has grown alongside Cambodia's resistance to address these abuses, which calls into serious question the administration's decision to increase military financing to Cambodia and our overall aid strategy. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses this afternoon regarding all the issues that I've just mentioned. And I now yield to my good friend from the American Samoa, the Ranking Member, Mr. Feli Mavega, for his opening remarks.